All right, Shalom, giving all glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachach, Wadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and Shalom to the elect out there pushing this truth in all sincerity. It's your brother Tabaya Yakwana coming at you with a quick lesson, Lord willing, and edifying to an elect member out there, and Lord willing, we be of that number. You know, I've been trying to do this lesson for some time now, man, because it just kind of messes with my mind trying to talk about it because of the just the wickedness that was pushed upon, Gad. I mean, it's so much you can go into when you're talking about Gad, man. Which in the Hebrew is pronounced God, God, and yeah, Gad is a warrior tribe. Okay, and a lot of Gadites look like so-called Negroes, man. But through this Edomite's movie magic, he got you thinking that Gad looks like, long features, straight black hair, so forth and so on, man. But Gad doesn't necessarily look that way. But this is, that's another thing, man, about this devil's movie magic, man. Oh, man, I'm sitting here watching this feature on television. Uh, it's called Broken Arrow. And it's got, I forgot the name of this damn Edomite, man. And then it's got the head Gadite, looks to be like either an Elam, or he looks like he's like an Edomite just painted, copper. Okay, I had to look into that. Maybe I'll put it in the post. But let me grab this real quick. 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We're not ignorant of this devil's fucking devices, man. We know that Gad doesn't necessarily have to have straight black hair. A lot of while I'm doing this, I'm looking at this movie, man, and a lot of these characters, supporting characters in here that are playing Gadites, look like, so-called Mayans, so-called Aztecs, what we would call Issachar. They look like Issacharites, But we know, man, if you do a little due diligence, I had a movie that I'd seen called Goodbye Uncle Tom. They show you that Gad sometimes just looks straight up like Judah, man. Negro features. There's a book, and I'll try to put it in the created legislation. Basically, uh, it's hard to put, man. Like, okay, this is out of uh, Black Indians: A Hidden Heritage by William Loren Katz, which Katz is a small hat name, so you gotta, you gotta use a discerning eye when you're looking at stuff like this, man. But and I'm gonna try to get to the point real quick. It's on page 127 in the chapter "Blood So Largely Mingled." It says, and it's talking about how these Edomites got scared because they saw they saw a village of Gadites that looked very dark, and they were basically saying these are freed slaves, which would be freed, Negroes, so-called Negroes, man. This is how they kind of pit Gad against Judah, So check this out. 1843, for example, white residents of King William County, Virginia, felt their world was coming to an end, unhinged, they said. As a slaveholding community, they petitioned their legislature to save them from what they termed a dangerous and deadly peril. At any moment, they anticipated an attack by land and sea. Their great fear was prompted by a peaceful community of, and I believe this is just a made-up Edomite term. It says Pamunkey Indians. Okay, many of whom were biracial, and that's biracial is a made-up term, man. There's no such thing as biracial, being two races, man. We know that the seed line comes out of the father. So you are what your father. It doesn't matter how your features look, man. You could be super light skinned, blue hair, blue eyes, and straight hair, man. But if your father was a Judite, a so-called black man, then you're a Judite. All right, it's a seed line thing. It's a blood thing. It says, many of whom were biracial or free black men and women. Rather than expose their dangerous actions or suspected conspiracies, whites just kept pointing to the fact they were black Indians. So this is what Esau does. He likes to repeat the same shit. You see this with these small hatters, man. With the whole anti thing. He likes to repeat things. And there's something that I saw through a brother. Maybe I'll put it in the post, but it says something like, if you repeat things enough, they'll be deemed as true. It says, quote, not, this is what these Edomites said, quote, not one individual can be found among them whose grandfathers or grandmothers, one or more, is not of Negro blood, end quote. Read the white petition to the legislature. So now they're trying to, because they're trying to take the feet, and I'm gonna get this too, but they're trying to pit the features of the Negro against the features of the so-called of the Gadite. Okay. But it's not that cut and dry, man. And that's what it was so hard. I've been trying to do this lesson for so long, man, but it just twists your mind up trying to talk about it, man. Because of the agenda, the fucking bullshit that this cracker fucking pushes out in Hollywood, man. It's just straight up fucking bullshit, man. All right? This is Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb; they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Man, the wicked, the so-called white man, the Edomite, all he does is speak lies. All he does, and he knows the truth, but all he does is fucking speak lies, man. All right. This is 1 Samuel 16:7. But the Lord Yahweh said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his nature, of his stature, Salakia, because I have refused him. For the Lord Yahweh seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord Yahweh looketh on the heart. So we know not to judge a man by his appearance, but it's just, in trying to explain how this devil is trying to separate, and he does that with all the Israelites, man. The Issacharites, the so-called Mexicans. He's always trying to push a lighter version of our people, man. But all that shit's coming back on their own fucking head, man. Hey, these curses, as the scriptures say, they're falling back upon this devil. Okay, they're falling back upon this devil, and they're hitting them hard, man. Nobody wants to fucking be around these damn crackers, man. Nobody wants to be around these damn devils because they know that they got a forked tongue and they lie. And that's how they're programmed to be, man. The Lord made up, down, left, right, all of that, man. Positive, negative. And this Edomite is negative, man. He wears the mark of Cain, man. He has leprosy. So-called white skin, which is really the lack of melanin to a certain degree. They got melanin, but it's a mark, man, set upon them by the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. The mark of Cain, man. It's leprosy. All right? So getting back to this article or this passage in this book, it's really just talking about how they're separating. Yeah, and I already went into all that. How they separate. So they're basically saying that if you have curly hair and Negro features, you're not an Indian. You're not a so-called you're not a so-called Indian. You're not a Gadite, and that's not true, man. That's not true. So when I was at the powwow, that shit had me kind of like, it had me messed up, man. I was like, trying to explain it in my lessons, but I found myself kind of like having to pause, and I had to redo this over and over again and try to get my head right, because of the craziness that this devil has done to the Gadites, man. And it's not just of the sword and by rape, but also trying to be, through indoctrination, through this the wine of Christianity, man. There was a big article of a grave up in Canada of Gadites, and maybe I'll put that in the post as well. Hundreds of children, man. This was a Catholic school children, Gadites. Big old hundreds of children unearthed, and it was just like a big mass grave, man. These devils just been just killing Gadites, man. Children. And it was they had all went to a Catholic school, man. Hey, man, this devil got a lot to pay for, man. A lot to pay for, man. Hey, I'm gonna hit it with this, and I'm gonna close out. Cause I'm getting a little hot, Salakia. And it's a certain thing, man. Like, I don't believe I'm a Gadite myself, but when I get into the history of Gad, that shit just pisses you, man. It just pisses you off, man. Revelation 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. All right. Now, Gad, a lot of Gadites, shit, a lot of them was like, fuck that captivity shit. We'll die, So a lot of that part of that passage kind of points more toward, well, it's pretty much everybody, all the Israelites, man. I was gonna say it points more toward the so-called Negro, the Judite, but it's pretty much all of us anyway. But it goes on to read, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints, man. So this devil's gonna. Yeah, and Salakia, I just want to make sure that I, push this with a more level head and not being so emotional. I was getting a little hot. Ultimately, Esau Edom is going to be destroyed, but we're going to dig them out of them holes. They're top elite bankers, and they're going to slap into slavery. America Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed with nuclear fire. Thus saith the Lord. So I want to give all glory, honor, and praises once again to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai and Shalom.